Hello, welcome in. My name is Sarah. I'm a mindset mastery coach, transformational hypnotherapist, and attachment style specialist. Today's video, we're discussing the top 5 reasons your dismissive avoidant ex never says they miss you, doesn't show regret, shows up, stoically with stoicism and detachment and avoidance, and why they're really unable to utter those 3 words, I miss you, or can we talk, or they don't try to reconcile if you're married, if you're moving through a divorce or a breakup. Because look guys, I understand this pain. So I want to address this with the top 5 reasons that they do this. I am moving through a divorce myself from a dismissive avoidant, and I'm going to be totally transparent with you and say that actually I found out yesterday through him, but then this morning officially I received documentation from the court in California where we were living together that our marriage has been dissolved. So at this point, a judgment has been issued, a final judgment, dissolution of marriage, and it will be effective July 1st. And that comes 16 days before our anniversary. So to say that I'm unaffected would be a lie. This is an extremely painful experience to go through. I'm human, just like you, and even if I'm a couple steps ahead of you in the process, I'm still moving through the process. And there was something about the lack of finality of us being in the middle of a divorce. Like I could say, oh, I'm in the middle of a divorce to somebody, and it didn't seem permanent. It didn't seem that real. And I'm realizing now that there's another layer of grief for me to sort through. So just bear with me over the next, few days or few weeks here, guys, while I pull out the threads, these last remaining threads of my marriage dissolving, and I come to terms with it and I process it. And remember, my ex is dismissive avoidant, so he's not showing anything. He's not letting on that he's hurt or upset or anything. There's just stoicism and detachment and avoidance. It's extremely painful. And as a healing fearful avoidant and someone who feels very deeply, and the one who wanted the marriage to work and was willing to go to great lengths to see if the marriage could actually, if we could pull through and understand each other on a better, deeper level, having this happen and really having this person not ever try to reconcile or say they miss me or anything. I'm doing this video, guys, because I have lived this. I know what this pain is like. So let's go with the number one reason. Number one reason, well, not the number one, but number 1 out of my 5. Your dismissive avoidant ex never says they miss you. Because admitting that they feel regret or remorse for their actions or their behavior or their decision to leave would mean facing their own feelings with vulnerability. Facing their own vulnerability. And honestly, I feel like for a DA to face those feelings all at once, they would crumble. Like they would crumble into a puddle of just tears. Because if you've ever witnessed a DA have a breakdown, they will cry for like 30, 45 minutes. The tears will just come and they'll be heaving, their chest is heaving, their inner child feels safe in that moment with you. But then the next day they go back to being who they were and where they were, and the wall is back up. It's kind of like that scene on Sex and the City. I think I've mentioned this in a previous video because it was so poignant to me, where, Mr. Big is in town, he's having heart surgery. I think he had moved out to California from New York and he was having heart surgery, and Carrie gets wind of it, and it wasn't even a big deal, but she got wind of it and decided to be his nurse. She dressed up as a candy striper to take care of him, and he was really vulnerable that night. And in the light of morning, he was back to his old ways. And that's exactly how I felt in my marriage with my husband, and that's exactly what it felt like after that instance where he just bawled and he actually said, thank you for accepting me, because they feel so unlovable and so defective at their core. But the truth is he didn't need my love. He needed his own love. He needed the love of his dad that in his mom that he never got. So he needed to be the one to give himself that love. Only then can we accept love from somebody else. We have to know how to give it to ourselves and how to love and nurture that inner child first. So admitting that your ex admitting that they lost something or someone, that they love deeply and cherished, would be admitting that they hurt, would be admitting that they're feeling pain. And it would be admitting that you were able to hurt them, that you got through to them. And so while you might see bits and pieces of this, it's unlikely that you'll see this in large chunks, or the sustainability of your ex to be able to actually say this and communicate this, and to be able to carry on a conversation. They might be able to have like a snippet of a conversation, but then they're going to shut down. Okay. It's a scary thing for a dismissive avoidant. It freaks out their nervous system, their defense mechanisms. Number two, the second reason why your avoidant ex doesn't say they miss you and doesn't say that they want to be back with you or doesn't beg for you back or anything like that. Their entire defensive mechanism, their entire defense system, their nervous system is organized around deactivation and dismissive avoidance. They're organized around detachment. They're not organized around attachment like anxious ambivalent or even secure can be. They are organized around detaching from their environment or anything that could make them need somebody or something. They want to not need anybody or anything. They run, they avoid, and they minimize their pain by detaching rather than fearlessly attaching. So remember, as I said before, anxious ambivalent, their attachment system wants to be online. It craves connection. Sometimes codependently, a lot of times codependently. The dismissive avoidant, their attachment system wants to be offline at all times, basically, with just little snippets sprinkled in here and there of some closeness and intimacy, but only on their terms, because that's the only way that they feel safe. Let's move on to number three. Suppression of emotions, painful thoughts or memories. Your avoidant ex is suppressing, pardon me guys, is suppressing the love for you, but they're also suppressing the pain of the love, the pain of losing that love, of losing you, of losing the future that you were building, of losing everything that they worked so hard to create. They're losing the illusion that you were this perfect partner, because now they have to go and try to find their next perfect partner and soulmate. And in reality, nobody's going to fit that mold and fit that bill, because they have to be their own soulmate and their own match to their own soul first. They have to rescue themselves rather than wishing and hoping that someone else is going to come along and take the pain away for them. Because really and truly, I think subconsciously that's what a DA system wants, is for someone to come in and just remove the pain for them and from them. And nobody can do that. We're not here to rescue or save anybody but ourselves. So they would rather numb than feel. They would rather deactivate than stay activated. Because think about like the activation that happens when you're triggered inside of a discussion, a heated discussion or an argument, or you guys just are disagreeing. It doesn't have to be an argument or a fight. Their nervous system is like eject, abort, get out of this situation, abort mission. So even though their feelings do exist, and I've seen so many bullshit things about all avoidants are narcissists. I'm so tired of that. It's not true. Stop saying that. They're not narcissists. They're not intentionally trying to hurt themselves or anybody else. They're trying to protect themselves. So they're numbing rather than feeling. Their feelings exist, but admitting that they have feelings, admitting that they're feeling these things could cause a rupture, a huge significant rupture in their defense mechanism, their defense system. And they feel like they would be naked. They feel like if I let that happen, if I let that rupture happen and I become just a puddle of tears and just a puddle of shame, then it's almost like they feel like they would disappear. Who would they be without their pain? There's a sense of holding on to their pain with a dismissive avoidant. And it would force them to connect with their pain and all their previous pain. But hold up, there's more. Because they wouldn't just have to connect with their pain and the previous pain of all the other breakups that came before you. They would have to also connect, and they would have to process the pain that they caused you and every partner before you. And that's a whole ton of shame to sort through. And I'll get to shame in a minute, because what does shame make us do? It makes us run further away. So they're disconnected from the parts, like we all have parts, right? There's parts of us. They're disconnected from the parts of themselves that would allow them to feel the loss or the longing for you, right? That longing that that the rest of us feel when we go through a breakup. We long for the connection. We long for sleeping next to, our person. We long for those giggles, those inside jokes. There's moments where we always had, an activity partner or someone to turn to or someone in the house. Like, we long for those things. But it would mean that they're disconnected from those parts of themselves that would allow them to feel the loss or the longing or the missing of you in the relationship consciously. So it's all buried subconsciously. There's a whole ton of pain and hurt and regret and remorse buried subconsciously, but you're not likely to see it come to the surface. Number 4, saying nothing or staying silent really does speak its own message. What do I mean by that? Well, silence feels safe for a dismissive avoidant. That's why this whole no contact garbage of like, oh, go no contact, get your ex back is nonsense. And it's not empowering for you, and you're not healing while you're doing that. But for them, the silence feels safe, and it's almost like they convince themselves that it's safe for you and for them because they can't hurt you in their silence. They can't disappoint you in their silence. Their defective wound starts to quiet down and they think it's gone away, but it hasn't. It's still there. It's just buried for the time being. So they may rationalize with things to themselves, saying things such as, we were just incompatible. It just wasn't meant to be. I did the right thing. See, they're happier. Because remember, they're stalking you. They're stalking your social media. They're watching you. They may never let on that they're doing these things, but they are watching to see what you're doing. They may also rationalize by saying, it's over, so why look back? Like, it's just over, let's move on. Or they may tell themselves, I'm respecting their space. Like, in other words, they think that they're respecting your space. Here's the kicker. Even if you never asked for space, even if you didn't want the space, they can tell themselves this. They might also say this was for the best anyway. It's really for the best all around. They will convince themselves and rationalize their pain away because that defective core wound is so loud and so obnoxious that it will tell them, hey, this person, even though you love them and they say they love you, and maybe even you've told them you want them back, you'll do anything, etc., they have made that decision from a place of pain, from a core wound of I am not enough. You cannot go against that core wound. That core wound is something they have to address. So when someone asks me, a client or potential client, is there any way that I can convince my ex? No. I see comments here all the time. How do I convince my ex to do the work, or that they're a dismissive avoidant, or to watch your videos or read this book? You can't convince somebody of anything. This individual has to want it for themselves. They have to hit rock bottom, and they have to have gone through enough internal pain and had enough of their own shit that they decide that I need to change, that something needs to change. But then probably what's likely to happen is they'll say, well, I need to go off and heal and lick my wounds on my own. You can't do this with me. I have to do this alone. So it's the whole lone wolf thing. And they don't even want anybody in their space. But the truth is that they do. They desperately want you in that space. But their defective core wound is telling them, you don't deserve love. You don't deserve this person. You don't deserve happiness. It's really quite sad all around. It's just a tragedy. So let's move on to the last one, number 5 on the list. The immense weight of shame. Shame doesn't want to be spoken. And what I wish the DA knew is that if they just spoke about their shame and shared it, it would diminish its power over them, over their mind. They would be able to see things differently. It's just a mindset. And it's an emotion, but emotions can be transformed into something else. So facing their decision to leave or to let you walk away, usually it's that they left, would bring so much shame up if they actually faced that head on. Like, I let this love of my life, I let this amazing person get away, or I walked away from them and I made up all these reasons why, and now it's 6 months later or whatever, a year later, I don't know, and they're looking back saying, scratching their head like, man, I think I made a mistake here. They would have to confront their shame. And shame makes us shrink, it makes us run away, it makes us avoid, it makes us retreat even more. Unless we understand the toxicity of shame and unless we're able to share it with somebody. But chances are they feel weak. They would feel vulnerable if they shared their shame with you. So again, they feel safer and better off just in the silence, in the shadows. They like lurk. The DAs, guys, your exes lurk in the shadows. They're around you, but it doesn't mean they're going to act on it. It's safer for a dismissive avoidant to keep their guard up. It's safer for them to bury their shame and their pain, to stay silent, to let you just move on. To just let them move on. They deserve better than me. Move on with their life because they truly feel that they will never heal. And for some of them, sadly, unfortunately, that might be the case. I have to be the bearer of bad news, right? Like, I'm going to tell you guys like it is so that you're not holding on to something that's not sustainable. You can't single-handedly save a relationship. I couldn't single-handedly save my marriage. I couldn't do it. I needed a partner. I needed somebody to say, let's do this together. You're not likely to get that from a dismissive avoidant, especially when they're in their shame wound, their defective wound, their rejection or abandonment wounds. You're not going to get that. You're going to get them protecting their shame, protecting their abandonment, protecting their rejection, and doing things that are going to validate those wounds. So I think I want to do another video where I actually do a letter from the DA and what they would say to you. And I think I want to do some written ones and some verbal ones. Because I know I like written letters. So I think that would resonate with a lot of you. And then some of you, just hearing it would resonate. But this is just a little snippet of something that if they could say something to you, what would your dismissive avoidant ex say to you? Because I know some of you want that so bad and you may never get that from them. So they would say something like, you did matter to me. In fact, you mattered to me so much that it hurts way too deeply for me to confront the pain of you leaving or me letting you walk away. I just don't know how to face the damage I inflicted and the pain that I've caused. And I don't know how to face what I've lost in you as a partner and in our relationship or in our marriage. So it felt safer for me to stay in the shadows and push you away and just let you walk out of my life because I truly do not feel worthy and I don't feel good enough. In fact, I feel like I'm just defective. There's something wrong with me at my core and you deserve to be happy and I don't think I can make you happy. So they would say something like that to you, you know, if they were being honest. But you probably won't get anything like that. And if you do, it might be years from now or months from now. And even then, it might not be what you need. They might just not be able to give it to you. Like, I think they truly want to be able to be better partners. I know they do. But they're just not equipped in that way. So there's a lot of conflicting and confusing messages that your dismissive avoidant partner will send, you know, and the lead up to the breakup or the divorce or the separation. Like, there's so much confusion. And let me tell you a secret. They don't really know if their decision was the best one. They're confused. They did what they did because they had limited internal resources to handle the conflict, to handle your needs, to handle your quote unquote attacks, which is really you just bringing things up in the relationship. When things got real in that relationship, guys, yeah, the person you saw in the beginning disappeared. Like, that loving person, you might have been love bombed by this individual. They wanted to be that person. They thought they could be that person. And then it turns out life got in the way once again. And they're like, oh, you know what? This wasn't my soulmate. This wasn't my person. Or they might even tell themselves, there's nobody out there for me. I'm supposed to be alone. But you cannot let yourself get dragged down with them. You have to crawl out of the trenches of your own pain, face what you're feeling if you want to heal. That's the first step to being secure, is acknowledging your pain, acknowledging that it's there, sitting with it, making friends with it, saying, hi, you know, what's your name? What color are you? And start to really connect with that pain and connect, for God's sake, connect with your inner child. Every time you want to reach out to your ex, instead, your dismissive avoidant ex, who probably isn't going to have the capacity to hold the space to reply in a way that's going to make you feel better. They're not going to be your source of comfort and your source of validation. They're not going to help you get over them. They're the ones who cause the pain. You have to find that within yourself. You have to find that validation and comfort within yourself. So I think I'll leave you guys on this note. I wish you all so much love and peace in this process. And if you would like to book a 20-minute free discovery call with me, where we just decide if we're a good fit to work together, you can do so. Please know that I am booked up through April and really into the first week of May. So I am now booking in like the second week of May with clients. So, and if you're just like, you know what, Sarah, I'm just ready to book, I don't even want to do the discovery call as some of you have done, then reach out to me and let me know that, and we'll get you booked in with a session in the second week of May. And just take care of yourselves in the meantime. Take care of yourselves, be good to yourself, and find peace. Take care, guys.